you want to be a legend in your own kitchen? How about with playing around with the recipe? Now, for some folks, that might be as simple as, I don't know, a little more salt or pepper in something. Other folks, it might be something from scratch that came out of nowhere and they're creating this new thing. Today, I'm going to take a cake that I saw online and I thought the ingredients of it were pretty good. It's got a crumble topping that's got hazelnuts. I haven't done that before. I like that. But it's also got lemon and pears inside. And I thought, well, that's a really nice combination. But everything else about the recipe told me I'm not sure that I'm loving that. So I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to turn the recipe upside down and do a couple techniques differently. And I'm going to make it gluten-free. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that in a second. But here's the thing. By turning this around, I have no idea if this is going to work. This is my first pass at it. I've got it in my mind that I want to do this in a future Zoom class. But I don't know if it's even going to work. We're going to see if it's going to work, and you're going to go on this little journey with me. Good luck to both of us. So first thing I'm going to do is with the crumble topping. Traditionally, when I make a crumble topping, I go with brown sugar. But instead of going with flour, again, trying to go gluten-free, I've taken some gluten-free oats. Now, a lot of people, especially if they have celiac, they don't have gluten-free oats because they feel they're not gluten-free. I'm very comfortable with them. So I've got gluten-free oats, and I've just put them in the food processor and grind them up almost like a very roughly ground flour. And the butter. I've got cold butter. I'm going to try that. And now I'm just going to break it up together. You can use your hands. You can use your fingers. But I like to give it a good start with this method. Now the chopped hazelnuts. And I'm just going to set that aside. Crumble topping's done, so I'm just going to put in the softened butter. I think I'm going to take the paper out. And as is the classic, I'm going to put in the oil and the sugar and just give them a minute or so just to combine and just get smooth. Here we go. Let's go for a ride. By the way, you want to start slowly. If you start out on full speed, you're just going to be sending ingredients out of the bowl. See how it's doing. Oh, that's fine. Nice and smooth. That's all you want. And now I'm going to add the eggs one at a time. Give it a moment just to scrape down the sides. And when I give it one more spin, I'm going to add the zest in now. Just lemon zest, no juice. That's good. Now for the flour. There you go. I usually like to do it this way because unless I take the bowl off, I usually end up with some flour on the outside. That never ends well. And remember, when you put dry ingredients in, you want to start out at the slowest speed. Because if you start out high, you know you're going to be getting a dust cloud. Now, two more quick steps here. One, I'm just going to scrape down the side, make sure everything's incorporated. And because I'm using gluten-free flour, I'm just going to whip this a little bit more. If I were doing just regular flour in a cake, I wouldn't want to overbeat it because that kind of builds up the gluten strands and makes for a tough cake. But there are no gluten strands to be built up here. So by whipping it more, say for about a minute or so, that's going to give me an airier cake. Get the batter ready. I've got diced pears. Now, I'm going to fold these in. What that means is if I'd put them in with a mixer and had that go that way, I probably would have broken up and ended up with a lot of pear mush. And this way, I keep the shape and the definition of the pears just by gently folding them in. No broken pears. And we're ready to go. I've got my pan here. Just put a little spray in there, wax paper in the bottom to help it come out of the pan later. Now, here's where not so much doubt has crept into my mind, but how is this going to work? Because a couple of things I've changed is, of course, the flours and everything. I think the cake itself would be fine, but what I've never done before is this kind of a streusel topping. Is this going to all fit in okay? Big question. And will this crumble topping, how is that going to be on the top? Is it going to cook enough? So I'm just going to flatten this out. I'm going to give it it's a very full cake. And now the crumble topping. And you know, is a crumble topping even needed? I hadn't thought about that until this moment. Again, that's why, when you experiment, you play around with the recipes, I have no idea if it's going to work and if it's even needed. Because I think this is going to be otherwise a terrific lemon pear cake, which are two combinations. I think they go together well, but I've never made them in a cake before. So I have no idea what my ultimate recipe on this is going to be. There it is, ready to go in the oven. See you in a bit. Really, I have no idea if this is going to work. We'll see. Well, the cake's been out of the oven for a few minutes, and not a huge success, nowhere near a failure. See what happened? It overflowed, got a little dark around the edges, so I would do it a little differently. But first thing, though, is to see, did this thing work? So to take it out of the pan, I have to go around the edges a bit. Now I can, I'll do it this way. I was going to cut some off from the edge. Well, see, it's all putting up a fight, but it's going well. So I'm just going around the edge like this, around the edge of the pan, taking my time. Gonna rotate a little like that, getting close. So a little more. So usually I would just use a bread knife, but because I have to cut through some of the crumble topping, well, look, I have a greyhound right here. I think she likes desserts. So now, let's see what happens when I try and take it out of here. I have honestly no idea if or how this is going to work. So I'm going to flip it over like that. See all the scorching? We had a little spillover in the oven, but is this going to come out? Oh, came out. I like the color there. Look at that. The wax paper that I put on, wax paper went on to help it come out of the pan. Now let's flip it over once more. And move that. And a toothpick in the center came out nice and clean, so this should be cooked all the way through. It also took longer than I thought it should in the oven, but again, there are a lot of eggs in here, so there's a lot of rising, which gave way to all that spillover. Now, let's see. So let's see what a slice of this looks like. That's a big slice. It's a little wobbly. What are we looking at there? Huh, I like the look of it, but let's see how it tastes. Drum roll, please. Of course, it's still a little warm, but that's okay. Oh my. That is fantastic. This is what I get. I get the lemon. I get the pears. The pear and lemon combo is unbelievable. The crumble topping, it's nice. I'm not sure what it does for it, but one more taste. The hazelnuts, that's a fantastic cake. So now I know what I need to do. I'm going to make a little less batter. I like the crumble on top. Maybe cook it a little differently. Maybe put some foil over as it starts to brown. Oh, this is going to be in a zoom. Oh my. A huge success. It will be pretty much the success now as it came out. First time, and that's how you make a cake. Whew, wow. I hope you liked this video, and if you do, please hit like, and even better, we'd love it if you were to hit subscribe.